Myanmar is real life Game of Thrones, the real deal. Double crossing, changing alliances, secret meetings, and much, much more. Now, I never talk about the conflict in Myanmar because I think it's inappropriate for me to give an opinion on such a sensitive topic because I am an American. But this story I'm going to tell you today is so interesting. If you are standing up, sit down. Please listen to this story. So if you didn't know, there is a large conflict going on in Myanmar, and it has been that way since the year 2021. The conflict is between the government of Myanmar and dozens upon dozens of these resistance forces. The resistance forces have been pretty much unstoppable for the last few years, up until very recently. Now, these resistance forces are mostly on the same side, but even if they are on the same side, a lot of times these groups have different goals. This story takes place in Shan State. Shan State is a province in Myanmar that's in the north, and this province borders China. There's two groups you need to know about this story. The TNLA, character 1, and the MNDAA, character 2. Now, these groups have been allies and they fought with each other side by side for many years, and a lot of times with much success. One day, the two groups get into an argument over CCTV security cameras. Now, apparently, the TNLA have been kind of like the government overlords of this small city called Kutkai. And this city called Kutkai sits on a highway, and this highway extends out to China. Now, one day, the MNDAA comes into this city, and they install their own CCTV security cameras. Now, both groups started arguing, they got mad at each other. And the reason why is because both groups wanted to tax this city, collect fees on this road. Both of them just kind of wanted authority over this small city that was important because it was a border town to China. Now, as they get into an argument, it got pretty bad, and this led to lots of arrests, and there were even some frozen goods and frozen assets by one of the groups. But while they were arguing, something suspicious was happening down the road in a city called Lashio, okay, Lashio. There was a secret meeting being held between the MNDAA and the government of Myanmar in a hotel, and the name of the hotel is called Two Elephants Hotel. The government strategy here was very clear: divide and conquer. So after this secret meeting, the MNDAA decided to switch sides. And after they switched sides, they decided to launch a full-scale, all-out military surprise attack against their former allies. 4 columns of troops and swarms of heavy drones, all targeted at the TNLA in the city called Kutkai. Now, the TNLA were so surprised and shocked that they didn't fire back, because they thought that apparently this had to be a mistake. There's no way that our former allies are firing. Yes, they were. And in 2 days, the TNLA were taken down. But here's the twist. Actually, the people pulling the strings in the background was China. And this is because China has billions of dollars of investments around the territory that these resistance groups occupied. And they viewed the TNLA as too Western influenced, and they looked at the MNDAA as far more easier to control and maintain, and so did the government of Myanmar. And this is not new to Myanmar or China. China has routinely funded some of these resistance groups because these resistance groups can protect their billion-dollar investments. And the government of Myanmar does the same thing sometimes. If they find a group that they can sit down and have peace talks with, they will have peace talks with them, and they will even let these groups occupy some lands if they feel like it's necessary for peace to continue. Now, I say all that to say this. The government of Myanmar just won their biggest victory on the battlefield without firing a single shot. Now, as an American, I want to repeat, I will not be covering this conflict, although I do know about it like the back of my hand. And I won't be giving my opinion because it's just not appropriate for an American to do so. But let me say this. All sides of this conflict ultimately want peace. They have different views about how to get peace, but they all want peace. And eventually, we will have peace in Myanmar one way or the other.